Welcome back, Truth Seeker. Thursday, November 7th, 2019. Last night on TFR, people called in and asked about a few recent headlines that I hadn't covered, so I want to go over those in this video. One is the planned execution of death row inmate Rodney Reed, set for November 20th of this year, 2019. There's a lot that's really interesting about this story, actually. We're about to cover that. Also, the arrest of YK Osiris, the young rapper. Show you what a ritual this is. Also, talk about the aspiring Houston rapper who was just killed late November 3rd, 2019, reportedly at 11:09 p.m. And we're also going to talk about the upcoming Hollywood movie, Playing with Fire, which releases on the 1-year anniversary of the California wildfires in Paradise and Los Angeles. See what a sick joke this movie is. And we'll start right here with the death of Rodney Reed. You're also going to see how the Rodney Reed story, the YK Osiris story, and the Houston rapper story all come together. Not that they're all directly related, but that there's a hidden hand, if you will, behind all three of these stories that's undeniable. And of course, if you follow my work, you already know what that is. What's interesting about Rodney Reed's execution date and the fact that this is making national news is that November 20th, the day he's set to be executed, is the day leaving 41 days left in the year, and death row equals 41. And anytime one of these death row stories does make the national news, it's always by the numbers. This might be the most by the numbers that I've ever seen. So Rodney Reed. Notice his name in gematria, alphabetic order and alphabetic order with rules numerology. 113 and 59. Both of these numbers very much connected to Freemasonry, the Scottish Rite, and we're going to see just how much Scottish Rite encoding is in this story. And, of course, 59 is also stamped all over Black History. Black History Month, February, ends on the 59th day of the year. Words like Negro, Slave, Blues, Rasta, etc., they all sum to 59. We're going to talk about how YK Osiris was arrested on his 59th day of his age. Number that just shows up again and again and again. But Rodney Reed, 113. Let's focus on the Scottish Rite part first. 113, the number of the Scottish Rite. He is in the prison named the Alan B. Polunsky Unit, which equals 103. And notice Scottish with the alphabetic order is 113. With the reverse alphabetic order is 103. And with the reverse alphabetic order in rules numerology is 49, also like the name Rodney Reed. Now, the name of the young woman who was killed, who was a 19-year-old, and here the story is in 2019, her name is Stacy Stites. So you have one character, Rodney Reed, RR, and then you have Stacy Stites, SS. And notice her name just using the 4 base ciphers, the alphabetic order with the rules numerology, the reverse alphabetic order with the rules numerology. Same as Scottish Rite in 3 of the 4 ciphers. The story is she didn't show up for work. That's when things got suspicious. The place that she worked was the HEB grocery store, which equals 78, like her name, like Scottish Rite. And Scottish in the 4 base ciphers, 113, 32, 103, 49. We've already covered the 113, the 103, and the 49. The only one we haven't hit is 32. The surname Reed, the man who's on death row, Rodney Reed, 32. Now, if you think that's coincidental, look at what day this happened. April 23rd, 96. Do you know what April 23rd is? That's the 113th day of the year. Like Rodney Reed is 113, just using the alphabetic order. So her murder happened on April 23rd, the 113th day of the year. And at first, they thought it was her fiancé that was responsible. His name is Jimmy Fennell. Let me see. I might have forgot to post that part of the notes because I think there's supposed to be 2 posts there. Stacy's fiance Jimmy Fennell became the prime suspect. Jimmy Fennell. And look at Jimmy Fennell, 57, like Scottish Rite. So, I mean, you just gotta say, what are the odds? What are the odds that every single detail of this story is encoded with the Scottish Rite? And like I'm always saying, pretty much everything that comes through the mainstream always points to the Scottish Rite. And it's not really that hard to see when you think about it. The nation's capital, the propaganda center, the government tyranny center. It's named after a Scottish Rite Freemason. Scottish Rite lodges are all over every single town in this country. Mostly right next to police departments. And here we are talking about a prison, which isn't too far removed. Of course, it's the police officer henchmen, the officer overseers that are out helping fill up these for-profit giant structures that keep modern-day slavery alive, if you will. That's what this prison industrial system's all about. And again, every single detail of this story encoded with the same repetitive numbers. And we're not even done talking about all that's encoded yet. But there's multiple theories here for what has happened to Rodney Reed. Is he someone that was in a database, and because his name had the numbers of the Scottish Rite, he was chosen for this ritual? There are a lot of people in prison who are not guilty of the crimes they're accused of. And Rodney Reed might very well be one of those people. What I imagined happened here is another, satanic murder ritual carried out by this Masonic death cult. And again, not all Masonic lodges are the same. Some are more sinister than others. And by the way, sinister equals 113. It's the number of mainstream deception. It's the number that comes from the Talmud, Bava Kama 113a, that says Jews may use lies to circumvent non-Jews. And of course, the Scottish Rite is the most Jewish branch of Freemasonry. And of course, the people we call Jewish don't meet the physical descriptions of the people who are the Jews or Hebrews from the Bible, people who are dark complected. But anyway, moving on with the encoding of this story, the prison's in West Livingston, Texas, which equals 277. That's the 59th prime number. Let's see, I copied and pasted things. I didn't put the post together as cleanly as I meant to. But anyway, West Livingston, Texas, 277, the 59th prime. Again, 59 is encoded into the name Rodney Reed, Negro Slave, Rasta Blues, all 59. Just come back up to the name Rodney Reed, 59. Freemasonry, when you run the alphabetic order in reverse with the rules and numerology, is 59. Freemasonry equals 59 in Hebrew as well. Don't forget, modern Freemasonry began in the year 1717. 59 is the 17th prime number. 59 years after 1717 was 1776, the year this nation was established by Scottish Rite Freemasons. As for this happening in the year 96, Freemasons 96. The town it happened in was Bastrop, Texas, which equals 74 and 43, just like Masonic and killing 74 and 43. The young woman who died, the 19-year-old Stites, 43. So, anyway, I just couldn't, even as much as I do this, as much as the numbers point the same way, I just couldn't believe how, literally every single detail of the story was Scottish Rite, Scottish Rite, Scottish Rite, Scottish Rite, Scottish Rite. Freemasonry needs to be washed away. It needs to be done away with. We can't have secret societies. Secret societies are what are behind so much of the evil we see in this world. And, some people will say, well, don't throw out the good apples with the bad. Sorry, when it comes to secret societies, we got to. We can't have powerful, secretive organizations running government, running police, running media, because that's what goes on. And it's obvious that some people within these secret societies are murderers and killers. And it does seem that a lot of people get framed for the things that they're truly responsible for. And by understanding this knowledge, this Kabbalistic knowledge, which Freemasonry is based in, you can see how they operate. I don't have all the details. Maybe Rodney Reed, maybe he was born into this and maybe he really is guilty. I don't know. Or again, maybe his name was chosen from a database and he was framed. It's just hard to say. But the ritual shows in the numbers. So the story is that he was having a relationship with a 19-year-old girl. He was in his late 20s at the time. That sounds believable. How many men in their late 20s are sleeping with 18, 19, early 20-year-olds? A lot. So the story was the 19-year-old girl was engaged at the time, and that could be motive right there. Maybe the guy she was engaged to found out she was having an affair with Rodney Reed, but somehow, some way, all the numbers, point back to the usual suspects. So it's also possible this whole story's made up. But even if it is made up, it still connects to real narratives. Innocent men in prison for things they didn't do. Now, with regards to 113 and the Scottish Rite, check this out. Or I guess 113 is the next story we're going to talk about, the rapper that was murdered late on November 3rd. This is the YK Osiris story. First his story. But again, here's 59 again. Always stamped on black history, especially in the shaming of young black men. The story is that this aspiring rapper, YK Osiris, he bit his girlfriend on his September 7th birthday. And September 7th, remember, that's the day Tupac was shot. That's Eazy-E's birthday. Last year on September 7th, you had the death of the Jewish rapper Mac Miller. You had LeBron and Kevin Durant's rap song It Ain't Easy released. It Ain't Easy on Eazy-E's birthday. So there's always rap rituals every single year on September 7th. Last year on September 7th, I can't remember their names. The two popular female rappers. I cannot remember their names. Cardi B and why can I not think of her name? But the lady that has all the plastic surgery who looks like I don't know what she looks like. Anyway, they got in their little fight beef on September 7th. So this year, this rapper, YK Osiris, whose birthday is September 7th, he's accused of biting his girlfriend, and then they arrest him on his 59th day of his age, November 4th. So it's not hard to see what the ritual is here. Again, Negro Slave, Rasta Blues, the list goes on, 59. If you've read my book, the 18th chapter of the book is about how they always code 59 and 42 in these shaming rituals of black Americans. Birthday equals 42. If you write out 21 as a word, it equals 42. It was his 21st birthday. And, again, bit the girlfriend on his birthday, his 21st, and then arrested for it on his 59th day of his age. And if you don't count the span of days, you could also say that was 58 days after his birthday. Freemasonry's 58, and when you run the alphabetic order in reverse, it's 59. He was arrested on the day, leaving 57 days left in the year. Scottish Rite's 57. And his hit song is Worth It, which equals 113 like Scottish. So actually, yeah, there was a 113 in this story as well. And, yeah, it's just, there's probably another joke there about Osiris. Think more about that one. But anyway, the next story was the aspiring Houston rapper. This article gets real specific here. At about 11:09 p.m., police responded to 5833 West Gulf Bank Road to reports of a shooting. And this young man, who was also 21, was shot to death in his car and crashed into a laundromat. This article, a little less specific, says around 11 p.m. on the 5800 block. And then they get a quote from his sister about why this happened, and she says, he was trying to be something, but they didn't want him to be nothing. That's why they killed him. And in my book, there's a chapter, Who Are They? Because people always say they and don't finish who they are. But they. It's not an X and it equals 58. Freemasonry, Rosicrucian, Secret Society, all 58. King James, who was a Freemason and a Rosicrucian, dropped dead unexpectedly at age 58. This number coded in rituals again and again and again and again and again. Again, just like the YK Osiris, it was 58 days after his birthday or his 59th day of his age. And in light of the address being 5833, I mean, could it get any more Masonic? Masonry, Police, Federal Order, Secrecy, 33? I'd like to know what his last phone call is, because whenever these things happen, I always wonder, like, how did they get the person at the right location to, you know, kill them there? Because it's always this way. Notice when every time there's a story like this, they're sure to report to you exactly what block it's on. And it's almost always the same group of numbers that point right to Freemasonry. Literally every single time. And you know, that this detail doesn't need to be in there. Why does it matter that it was on the 5800 block? This article, why do they got to get so specific with 1109? So I'd like to know who puts, like, did his last phone call ask him to come meet at some place? You know? Because if you tell somebody, if you know where they are, if they're going from point A to point B, you know what route they're going to take. And, yeah, it's like somebody could just be waiting there for him to pass by and then shoot up his car, and next thing you know, he's dead, crashed into the laundromat. This happened November 3rd, late November 3rd, 11/3/113. You can also write that date 3/11 like 311, which is the 64th prime, and kill equals 64. And the news broke on the day, leaving 57 days left in the year. November 4th, the same day YK Osiris was arrested against Scottish Rite 57. And again, the Scottish Rite runs the show. They control government, media, entertainment, police. It's how they're able to carry out all of these rituals so perfectly. 11:09 p.m., Fraternal Order of Police, 119, Fraternal 58. The news broke the next day, November 4th, a date with 34 numerology. The majority of articles wrote the street where he died is West Gulf Bank. I didn't even cover the Antoine thing, but I see something with that too. Here, I'll write out Antoine and show you what I see. 33, 39, 78, Masonry, 33, 39. He was killed on a date with 39 numerology. Scottish Rite, 78. But the West Gulf Bank, the way the majority of articles wrote it, W Gulf Bank, 34 like murder, like rapper. The news broke on a date with 34 numerology. His name was Isam Homer, or Isam Homer, however you pronounce it. Interesting. Got the 47 in it. Also like the address, like the 47 degrees on the Masonic compass. And, yeah, it's just, it's sick, man. And it's so easy to see that it's the same repetitive thing over and over and over and over and over again. And Derek Bros, who's in Houston, who just got smoked in the mayor race, who shit on this work and said it was all a coincidence. Since you live in Houston, and I know you do watch my videos, you should actually investigate this. You know? Do something meaningful instead of getting sucked into, you know, mainstream bullshit, which is what you believe in, you know? You think the whole Jeffrey Epstein thing was some real news story instead of the contrived soap opera by the numbers that it was. And by the way, Derek Bros, you probably would have got more than 10 votes in the election if you would have talked about gematria in your city, because honestly, more people know who I am, and I've never even been to Houston, than who you are, even though you just ran for mayor there. You know? You could have showed your people how the Nationals were going to beat the Astros before the World Series began. You could have showed people that the World Series was going to be the Nationals and Astros before the postseason began, like we did, from knowing gematria. And I wouldn't be surprised, honestly, if this ritual does have something to do with the World Series. Again, that was a giant Scottish Rite Freemason ritual all synced up with the day at the George Herbert Walker Bush. You know? All year we showed how the Houston Astros games were paying tribute to the death of George Herbert Walker Bush, which, by the way, was another correct prediction because we said he wouldn't make it past 94 and he wouldn't make it past November. Never heard about Derek Bros talking about any of these things. Derek Bros. Another wannabe truth seeker and speaker. And you know, it's people like Derek Bros that have made everyone so afraid of 5G. And 5G is a problem, but I mean, if you listen to Derek Bros in his own words, he says things like, man, just a year ago, I used to sleep with my iPhone under the pillow, and I didn't even know that there was a radiation problem. And now he wakes up to that, now he's like talking like 5G is going to kill everybody. It's like, okay. Little bit of an overreaction, especially if... I mean, honestly, it's been known since the late 90s when cell phones came out that radiation came out, and it was very harmful to lab rats, which they did plenty of experiments on. So to be 20 years behind the curve on that, and then to wake up to that 20 years late, and then start telling everybody that 5G is going to kill them, and that's all you talk about while shitting on gematria, it just shows that, you know, maybe you should be talking less. And 5G, again, I'm not saying that 5G is not a concern. There definitely are health concerns, and especially the surveillance state concerns, but a lot of these people who are making big noise about 5G are straight up either morons or shills. You know, people like Retard from Boston making videos that 5G is definitely going to kill you. I mean, that's just unnecessary fear. So, you want to survive the radiation and the poison in the sky and in the food? You know, eat healthy, eat foods that flush out your system, and really that's all you can do, and spread awareness. But anyway, off ranting about that character. Last point here, Playing with Fire, Hollywood film, releasing November 8th, 2019 on the 1-year anniversary of the devastating fires in California where, of course, Hollywood is. Look at this. The film's 96 minutes like Freemason. Remember how the Masonic fire was synced up with the November 8th fires, which we covered last year. But the character named Jake Carson, and actually, I think there's one more thing I need to show here about this character. I've talked about how so many times before how Hollywood actors, their character name will be the same as their real name. So John Cena plays Jake Carson, right? The most pure cipher is the alphabetic order with the rules of numerology. John Cena, Jake Carson, they're the same. But anyway, coming back to this, Jake Carson also equals 97, which is the 25th prime. Fire equals 25. We've been talking about the encoding of 25 in the recent California fires. The story is about a fireman who has to babysit children. Babysitting is 70 like fire. We've been talking plenty about 70 in the recent California fires. And the film releases on a date with 38 numerology. Look at fire in the base ciphers. 38, 70, 25. So it's encoded in the character names and the plot of the film and in the release date. And again, it's on the 1-year anniversary of the torching of Paradise and Los Angeles. And notice the name John Cena is 70 and 38. Like fire, 70 and 38. And notice the title, Playing with Fire. 92, 223, 79. 92, 223, 79. The Synagogue of Satan. That's who runs Hollywood. 223 is the 48th prime. Hollywood's 48. Illuminati's 48. Freemasons 48. We talked about the recent movie Illuminated, which equals 48, that released 48 days after the director's birthday. Johnny Rebel, obviously a Hollywood name. Johnny Rebel equals 48. And if you missed my video on that Illuminated film, you might want to check it out. It's got a lot of good information, but it has a really stupid ending. Anyhow, just as a reminder about the fires last year on November 8th, 118. Los Angeles, California is 118. It's on the 118th meridian. Paradise, California is 118. Deadliest wildfires in California history. That was a date with 57 numerology last year. Fires is 57. It was synced up with the 114th World Series and the planned rigged Super Bowl for the Rams. Remember, Thursday Night Football was then, and then you had Jared Goff on there who beat the Chiefs and talking about how his dad was a firefighter. Again, all this stuff is scripted together. You had the shooting the night before, which was a year ago today, November 7th. It was the story the morning of November 8th before the fires broke out. But here's just the other thing I would just want to cover real quick. November 8th was also the day leaving 53 days left in the year. Los Angeles is 53, Burns 53, Paradise is 53. So the most perfect day of the year for Paradise and Los Angeles to burn, encoded in two ways. And again, it's the same people doing all of this. The nation's capital is named after a Scottish Rite Freemason war general. Who do you think has the technology to ignite these fires, to play with fire? Who do you think is playing with fire? And then it also, it leads into what Masonry is, the pursuit of light, fire. It's like a really sick, dark, twisted version of the concepts. And for the people who get mad at me and say it's not truly Freemasonry that's responsible, it's the satanic occult, it's the people that operate off the same principles. It's possible. It's possible that Masonry was hijacked. Again, that was the Bavarian Illuminati's whole mission, was to take over the Scottish Rite to fight the Jesuits. But somewhere along the way, it seems clear to me that they all got on the same page and made an unholy alliance, as I often call it. So, and again, the nation's capital, the Scottish Rite and the Jesuits, they're the ones that have the history there. They're the ones that share the motto. So, anyway, just wanted to cover all of these stories. Send a shout out to Google and YouTube at the censorship team. Thanks for letting people see the live stream today. Yesterday, the live stream, nobody could watch it. If you tried to click on it, it said video unavailable, and then you had to wait till about an hour after it released to watch it. So, anyway, enjoy these videos while you can, because eventually one day they're just going to decide to delete the channel again. All right, Truth Seeker, we'll leave it there. Probably be back tomorrow. I expect the headlines to be very eventful tomorrow. Talked about that in probably the last 15 or 20 minutes of last night's radio show if you want to go back and check it out. The 118 dates have been full of tragedy, fires, all sorts of things this year. So I suspect the trend will continue tomorrow. All right, we'll leave it there, Truth Seeker. Until next time.